Hey guys! I'm Issa.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome back to Likewise Pod.
It's about whatever we want.
And I know I say this every week, but last week was so good. But I can't even put into words how stoked I am for this episode.
Me too. Guest episodes are my favorite, and every time we do a new one, it takes the spot of my favorite episode ever. So I have high hopes.
Oh my gosh, no, it really does. We have been in the talks, I want to say for a long time, but maybe it hasn't been that long, but we haven't had a guest for a really long time, so I'm just so stoked to finally have another guest.
Our special guest this week is the one and the only Ryann Funk. So Ryann, if you want to go ahead and give a little brief introduction of yourself.
Hi, oh my gosh, I'm really excited. Hi, I'm Ryann, she, her pronouns, and I'm 22. I guess I would describe myself as an artist. That's kind of weird to describe yourself like as an artist or creative. Sounds very like LinkedIn, but whatever. But yeah, I'm just a recent graduate, just living out my dreams. I'm a media nerd, pop culture nerd, can be found tweeting about things that people don't really care about, but I just continue to do it anyway. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
I literally live for your Twitter. I love the constant updates.
I gotta keep the people informed. Like, I know like there's like such a small like subsection of my followers that actually like one, see my tweets, and two, care about them. There's like a core group of like 10 people that constantly like my tweets, even if they're like super down. Like the thing that I tweeted earlier about me looking like a founding father with my hair in a low pony, like I knew that was either gonna flop or people were gonna love it. So it's just like, I'm just giving the people what they need.
Oh, I'm such a fan of that. Oh my gosh.
I was like sitting in my bed and I was just scrolling on Twitter, as one does, and I saw that, and then I like turned and I have like this mirror that I'm sitting in front of right now, but like it's directly across from my bed, so when I'm like sitting up I can like turn and like look straight at it. I just turn and I look and I'm like, that is exactly what I look like right now.
Yeah, it was like a really struggle. Like I was like working earlier and I had put my hair in like just to get it out of my face, and I recently got layers again, and I haven't had layers in such a long time. So then when I put my hair up, I have this like little bang piece that like comes off the top and it just won't go into a ponytail. So that's what like it looked like, and it was just like flopping all over. It was just not cute at all.
But before we get into any more great content, because honestly I love this already, I forgot what I was gonna, like how I was gonna transition that. So sorry, good lord. Do you guys want to do roses and thorns for the week?
My rose of the week, I think we all had like the same big main rose, was that Jock came out. And I guess that was my rose last week too, but now it's like actually out, and it like kind of still doesn't feel real because like I almost feel like none of it ever happened. I don't know, it's like weird. It just like still doesn't feel very real, and just so many people have texted me about it, and I can't wait to like pass on their feedback to Eli, because every time I've like told him what my friends tell me about like loving his music, it just makes his heart so happy, and I just love his reaction. So that's my rose. And I like don't really have a thorn. It was finals week. I know it's only Wednesday, but it's no longer finals week because I had my last final yesterday. So I'm done.
I will do my thorn first, so I can end on my positive. Thorn would probably be kind of like Sam said, like this week has been like really big, and like the past like couple weeks of us just doing promo for Jock, it's been like a big thing. But I'd say maybe like the thorn would be that it's all kind of like, it's not over, but it's like all the anticipation we were like building up, and then it was like here, and now I'm just like, what do I do now? Like I had that like crisis like 3 times in the past like week, because like I'm done, we're pretty much done doing like big like Jock things, and then I'm done doing art hoe things, and so it's like I've had like constant projects to work on for the past like 4 months. So I was just like sitting in my living room, and I was like, I have nothing to do. That is like something I have not had in such a long time. So that would probably be my thorn. And my rose, in connection with Jock, I got published for the first time, on Sunday when we premiered with the Luna Collective, which is just so cool. I didn't think it would affect me as much as it did, but like actually seeing the post and like the story put up and like seeing like my name underneath it and like having credit on it, and that's like my first like publishing credit, so it's like it was pretty cool thing I got to add to my resume. So
yes, oh my gosh, that's so incredible. I love that. I'll start with my thorn because it's like a thorn. So mine is that it's finals week and I just feel really dead. I had my math final yesterday, my marketing final today, and my econ and accounting final tomorrow, Thursday. So I guess today when you're listening. But yeah, and then my rose jock, it was like I wasn't even on the inside of it at all, except for Sam just saying like, oh my gosh, we're doing this today, we're doing that today, or like, wow, this is so fun. Like barely any behind the scenes snippets and stuff. And so, but seeing it, I was literally crying on the first one. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And I definitely was expecting it to be really good, but it far exceeded those expectations. And like, again, like when I tell you I cried, I mean it. And it's been a long time coming. I'm just so stoked about it and like all the work you guys did on it. And I just can't wait to see what's to come in the future.
Yes, I'm so happy about it, and I loved getting updates every single video from Issa of her just saying how good it was and with tears on her face. But also
I was live snapping.
Yeah. No, but to bring it back to the Luna Collective, that was like literally so cool. The article is so good. And I think everyone needs to read it. But the other thing that I just think is like so cool and like mind-blowing to me about it is like, so I have like their post notifications on, and every time they post I like go look, and like they feature some of like the coolest people. They featured like really, really big people, and so whenever I see that, I'm just like, wait a minute. Like, oh, like you feel so small, and like you still feel like, oh, it's like still like not like it's cool and it's a huge step, whatever. And then you like see what like these other big names and you're like, wait a minute, like, oh, like my friends are really, really cool. Like my friends are actually like kind of famous.
I got like the notification because I wasn't expecting them to tag me in the post, which was like, I was like, okay, cool. And then so I went and looked at the people, just the sheer amount of like just like likes that particular post got on their feed is like insane. There's so many people, and so I know that really like drove people to the video. But the fact that I saw people that like I was following, like this photographer who's Peggy Shoots Film on Instagram, she liked the post like of our project, and she has like 20,000 followers. She's like a big film account, and so it's like that was like super cool just to like. And then when you go on the website, you see like our little like poster next to all these like huge like celebrities that they interview. It's so cool.
Yeah, I loved it.
Okay, so our first question for you is classic likewise. It's because we're like so obsessed, in love with all the personality types, like Adobe Creative, Enneagram, and Myers-Briggs. So if you happen to know yours,
of course I know mine. Of course I do.
Oh, yes.
Well, first and foremost, if anybody on any social media follows me, they know I'm a Gemini. That is my like one and only personality trait, is that I am a Gemini. So for anyone out there interested, I'm a Gemini sun, Pisces moon, and an Aquarius rising. So that tells you what you need to know. Interestingly enough, so I took the Myers-Briggs personality test 3 or 4 years ago. So like either right before my freshman year of college or right when I started college, and I was an INTJ, and then I took it again after I graduated and I was an ISTJ. And so I think art school has to do with it, because I looked into it because I was trying to figure out like how people's personality types can change, because like I've gotten a couple of different variations of that same thing, and I think just for like the change from like intuitive to sensing and like being able to like kind of determine things and like have your senses influence like how you go about things, I think art school really did that for me because I was always having to like kind of think outside the box. My program was very step outside of the basic like art boundaries. Like we were doing like performance art and stuff like that. So I think that's where that comes from. Enneagram, I just did it again for the first time like 2 weeks ago. I don't really know too much about it, but I'm a 3 wing 2, I think. I think that's what it was. And then my Adobe Creative type is visionary. That's what it is.
Oh my gosh, we're so similar. I know. I'm an ESTJ and a type 3 wing 4.
Oh my gosh, no way.
And I forgot my Adobe Creative. Was it visionary?
One that
It's
looks
the little
like a
cactus.
Yes.
I know it's the cactus.
Yeah.
That's all I know about it.
Yeah, I'm the cactus guy.
Literally.
That's so funny.
Like introduced to Enneagrams, like I think they're TikTok, like probably 4 or 5 months ago. I had zero clue what it was. I'd never heard of it. And then there was like a sound going around where you talked about your like Enneagram. So I was like, I might as well take it. And I took it and they were like, you're a type 3, but then you could be a wing this or this. I said, I don't understand fully, but I'll just go with it.
Yeah, I don't entirely understand the wings, but I have a pretty good idea about what most of the numbers mean, except I always get 4 and 5 mixed up, so there's that.
I'm clueless about other numbers except for a couple of them because I'm a 2 wing 3, and I know 3 really well because of Issa, and I know 6 really well because of some of my other friends, and then I know like 7 and 1. Like I feel like 1's always really easy to remember because it kind of like it works out well that like 1 is very much the like organized, put together, like kind of like perfectionist type one, and it's like 1. So yeah, that's all I can really remember about them. So just because we talked about it, I don't even think it was the last episode, it was probably the one before, but Issa and I are huge fans of Miley Cyrus in general, and especially of her new album Plastic Hearts. It is a likewise fave. We believe it has no skippable songs. Like, it's just so good. So we would like to know your opinion because, you know, you're kind of like a pop culture music guru on Twitter, so we'd love your thoughts.
2 things to start off. When it was 2 weeks ago, because I do listen to the podcast, because you did the Spotify Wrapped episode, which I was going to say I appreciated the shout out. I did, in fact, listen to over 100,000 minutes on Spotify in 2020. I think I might have a problem. We'll deal with that later.
No, I love it.
2, it's funny that you bring this up because my first concert I ever went to was actually Hannah Montana. It was Hannah Montana, and the opener was the Jonas Brothers. I was in 4th grade, and that was my very first concert. So it's funny that you ask my opinion, because I have very deep opinions about Miley Cyrus and all that kind of stuff. So my thought, the album overall, I think it's a good album. Do I have other Miley Cyrus faves? Yeah, I would probably say Bangers is probably my number 1 Miley Cyrus album because some of the songs on there are just so ridiculous that I can't help but like play them all the way through, and it kind of bangs, hence the name. But this album, I definitely do agree with like the takes that this is the type of album she was meant to do. Whether or not she could have done it earlier in her career, I'm not sure, because it's definitely mature, like more mature content than she has done like previously. I saw some like music reviewer on TikTok talk about how some of the songs literally have the same beat as Hannah Montana songs. Like they're literally just like Hannah Montana songs with mature lyrics. And then I was like, wait, that can't be it. And then I listened to it again and I was like, oh my God, they're Hannah Montana songs. But she's like talking about like sex and like stuff like that, and I like can't unhear it now. But overall, I think the album is good.
Yes,
I think it's good.
That's a very good take on it. I
really enjoyed the I'm glad she added the covers to the end of the album. I could literally listen to just a whole album of Miley Cyrus covers. Like her cover of Zombie by the Cranberries is probably my favorite like cover on the whole album.
No, me too.
It's so good.
She is a great person for covers, just in general. I feel like she's never done a bad cover of a song, so
I will object. I will object just because I am one of like 3 people that watch MTV every night, and so I like saw all of her like backyard, like her version of Unplugged, and she does a cover of Gimme More by Britney Spears, which like everybody knows, like Britney's like Give Me More by Britney Spears is my favorite Britney song. It's just like country. It's very yeehaw. I'm not so sure about it. Not my favorite, but I need everybody to go listen to Miley Cyrus's cover of Give Me More and tell me if I'm crazy, because I feel like I'm supposed to like it, but I'm just like it's not Jello with me.
I might have to retract my statement because that does not sound good.
It's just like odd. She's like in that zebra like dress with like the mullet, and she's outside, but she's singing like, I don't know. It's odd. It's an odd choice.
I definitely have to go listen to it. But my favorite cover of hers, probably forever and always, will be Jolene. I just,
yep.
So good. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. I love it so much.
No, yeah, definitely. And then my favorite like non-cover track is Bad Karma. Solely because when I saw that Joan Jett was on this album, I had to listen. I was supposed to see Joan Jett in concert this year, but obviously it got canceled. So I was like, I listened to it, I was like, it literally sounds like a Joan Jett song. Like it sounds like I Hate Myself for Loving You. So it's like, I love that song. It's so like sexy and just like grungy. I love it. Mm-hmm. So good.
Kind of on the note of concerts that were canceled, were you surprised when the Strokes concert wasn't canceled? Like, obviously, glad it wasn't, but were you like surprised at all?
Oh my gosh, the 72 hours leading up to the Strokes concert was like the most like insane time of my life. I'm really not that much older than y'all, but like my parents raised me listening to a lot of like 70s and 80s music, which then transitioned to, I have like distinct memories of like listening to like the 2001 2002 Grammy CDs when they used to do those. So they like put all the Grammy nominated songs on just like one CD. And so I grew up listening to the Strokes. Was it a band I ever thought I was going to see ever in my life? No, it was one of those artists I never thought I would see. And then in February, I saw a random post that they were coming to Seattle on like a mini tour. And I was like, I have to go see them, because I'm just like a very impulsive person like that. I got like a code and everything. I like knew people that were going, forced my friend Allison to go with me, even though she had never heard a Strokes song in her entire life. I was like, I have to go. I don't know if I will ever get this opportunity ever again. So like fast forward, I went on like a short trip to LA at the end of February, like through my school, and literally the day we were flying back to Washington was when the first confirmed case of COVID was in Washington. I was like, oh no. And so then we flew back. Literally like 2 days later, I went to Saint Motel at like Showboxes, whatever. I was like, okay, that wasn't canceled. Like we were fine. And then a couple days later, and then the quarter got canceled. I was like, oh no, we're like 3 days out from this concert. I was like, we just gotta hold out for like 3 more days. I was like so nervous. My friend Spencer, who's like probably the biggest Strokes fan I know, he was also going. So we were like DMing back and forth, and he was like, I really don't think it's gonna get canceled. I said, but what if it does get canceled? What am I gonna do? And then I think we determined that if it was like the night before and they had not canceled it yet, it wasn't going to get canceled. We went. There was a lot more people there than I thought there was going to be. When I think about it now, there were people in masks. I would say there was probably maybe like 10% of the people there were in like those big N95 masks.
Oh,
because
wow.
it was when people like didn't know, but they were like fully still in like the pit at WAMU, just like going in, just in an N95 mask. And I was like, that cannot be comfortable. But it was like, I was just like, so I'm like really glad in hindsight. I was like, if this is like the last live show I see like this, because I definitely know for a fact like live shows will probably never be the way they were like pre-pandemic. I'm glad I went out on something like a band like the Strokes. Like it was just like, so I hate to say life-changing because it really wasn't. It was just like so cool because I just like think about it and I'm like, oh my god, I got to see the Strokes, like one of my favorite bands. And just like ever since then I've just been like, it kind of like reinvigorated my love for them, which is like such like a cool feeling.
I love it. You're kind of literally a concert queen. I mean, it helps like being so close to Seattle, especially like when you were at school too, because like I know for me, like I see so many concerts I want to go to, and then they'll be like on a random Wednesday where I'm like, I could not go back to Seattle from Pullman and like just go for that night and then somehow come back for classes. And there's so many people I wish I would have seen. But Issa and I were going to this February. We were gonna like leave Pullman for a weekend, come see the Driver Era, and it's postponed.
I was supposed to go to the Driver Era.
Yeah, we were so sad about it, but it's fine.
That was like one of like, I think like the 4 or 5 concerts that got like canceled. I know Driver Era got rescheduled, but it's not gonna happen. It's like funny because my friend Allison is like a huge Driver Era fan, and the Rex were opening for them, and we saw the Rex in December, and they're super good. And so I was like, I'll go for the Rex, and she's like, I'll go for the Driver Era. And then it just didn't happen.
I know, I'm so bummed about it.
It's fine though.
I hope I get my money back.
It's gonna happen. It'll happen eventually.
Okay, well, I say we move on from concerts and random things and dive super deep into everything art ho, because we love it, the people love it, all that. With that being said, we know that art ho was created for your senior thesis, but what made you choose to create a magazine, and just like kind of what's the why behind it?
Yeah, so I kind of did like a very condensed version on the very first issue, which is the one I did for my senior thesis, which is on exhibition with the Jacob Lawrence Gallery if you look it up. But it is pretty much stems from my freshman year when I took like intro photography. We had to do a project where we had to like physically manipulate the photos that we took in some way. And so I decided to do a project that I somehow titled Art Hose, but like hose spelled Hoez. And so I took portraits of all of my friends, and I had them dress up as what they like thought was like stereotypical, like what mainstream considers like art ho, like that kind of whitewashed mainstream. And then I took pictures of them, and then I physically manipulated all the actual like prints to different ways that people manipulate photos digitally. So for example, I had a portrait of myself and I was gonna do grain. So I went to Alki Beach, took a Ziploc bag, got a bunch of sand from Alki, and then Mod Podged it onto the actual photo print so that it would like emulate it. Like if you were to put like grain, it was just like a physically manipulated, exaggerated version of it. And so I presented that, and I presented it as art hose because I was feeling very like out of place in a photography class in college, because I did not go to college with any intention to do any kind of art at all. I first went to do psychology, and then I quickly switched to communication because I felt that was more kind of what I wanted to do. And then I was just taking a photography class just for fun. And I felt like I was just very over like the girls that were in my class that were like went to UW just to like do a art major, and like I do this and this, and I paint and I do this and I do that, and I'm so much better than you. And they just kind of walk around with that like arrogance and like entitlement of them. And I was like, y'all are 18, you need to calm down. And so I was just kind of over that. And so that's kind of where it like stemmed from initially. And then over the years, I had this running joke with my friends where I was like, oh, art kids love zines. Literally everybody I know made a zine. Like design kids love zines, art kids love zines, Tumblr kids love zines. And then when it was like October of last year, and I was trying to think of what I was going to do for my thesis. And I just jokingly said to one of my friends, what if I did a magazine? Like, what if I did a zine? But like, what if we like collaborated and like did all that kind of stuff? And they're like, that's kind of a good idea. And so I kind of just ran with it. And growing up, I always wanted to work for a magazine. Like I wanted to work for Vogue or Rolling Stone. I don't know what, but I wanted to do it. And I knew I was good at taking pictures, and I knew I was good at writing. So I kind of just put it all together. I still know nothing about like design, not a design major whatsoever. So I'm just kind of like putting things and seeing if it looks good. I know nothing about like typography or like what colors look good together. I just kind of did what I thought looked good, and that is where we're at today. So it was kind of just like, you could call it a passion project, I guess, but it was never intended. Wasn't like I'm going to make a magazine and it's going to be this, but it kind of just manifested itself, which is kind of cool. And it kind of came at a time that I needed like something very like cathartic and just kind of retrospective. So it was kind of cool, kind of fun to do, very self-discovery-esque.
So Sam and I got early access to the 3rd issue of Art Hoe, like last week, I think. I don't know. And so like I sat down and read it that night, and I was like, oh, I'll just read the 3rd one. It'll take me so long to get through them all. And then I finished the 3rd one that night. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to read the first 2 now. And like just kind of seeing it evolve from the 1st issue, which was like for a class and stuff, and then the 2nd issue, which clearly was done after you were graduated and done, and then the 3rd issue now. I was like, wow, like there's so much. And so I was just wondering, like, because it was only supposed to be a one-off publication, like what drove you to produce the 2nd and ultimately the 3rd editions?
So the first one was like such like a struggle bus moment for me. I kind of touch on this in my like letter in the very last issue, but I was notorious in my art cohort for not starting projects until 3 days before they were due. Like full blown like art, like concepts, like execution projects. I said, no. 3 months? Did you want me to do this 3 months out? No, we'll do 3 days. And so I was just like so notorious for doing like very short term. Like it was kind of like, I was very in the mindset of, I have an idea, I'm going to do that idea. I don't care if it doesn't turn out good or if people don't like it, that's the idea. And then we'll get the idea critiqued, get the project done, throw it out, never think about it again. So I kind of wanted to do the opposite of that and really just focus on one thing and make it really, really good. So this was like the longest project I've ever done in my life. I spent 8 months working on just the 1st issue. Like there has probably been, realistically, there was probably 30 or 40 different versions of the 1st issue just because I kept reworking it. And like half of the stuff that I had in like November, December to like February of like this past year, none of that made it into the final issue. So it was like constantly reworking. Like I reworked it for like the final time, maybe 2 weeks before I sent it to print. And it was like such like a struggle. Like I just like, it was just not turning out how I wanted it to turn out. So I just like wanted to throw it out, but I just had to persist because I had to do it for me because I knew it was what I had to do. And thankfully I continued with it because the first one was like so well received and like people really loved it. And it was like very special just to have like a physical thing that like I made and I spent time on. And so I was like, okay, hanging that up, never doing that again, because it was very just like emotionally and mentally and like creatively draining, which is like, it's great to do like lots of creative things, but then you kind of just hit your creative block and you just kind of like have to step away from it. Like that's what I was always told growing up. Like when something you love starts to feel like a chore, you need to step away from it and come back to it when you have that desire and that passion to do it. And like, you cannot do anything else until you do that thing, because then you know that it's actually something you're passionate about. And that's kind of how I felt about creating. Like I kind of stopped creating like over the summer, like right after I graduated, just because I was kind of burnt out, like very burnt out. And that is like totally real. It's not just like a class of 2020 thing. It's definitely like a college thing, because like your senior year is already kind of exhausting. And then with like the additional like challenge of a global pandemic, like it's just very like draining. And so I kind of took a break from everything. And then I was deciding that I wanted to go to grad school, which is something I had previously considered and then kind of dropped the idea. So while I was in the middle of researching grad schools, I said, I think I'm going to do another issue. Just like that is just how it happened. And I just kind of I went back into my notebook that I had written down everything for my thesis. And I said, okay, I didn't get to do this. I didn't get to do this. I didn't get to do this. I had like a list of maybe like 10 or 11 things that I did not get to include in the first edition, just because it was like a class project. It was for a photography major. So I kind of had to like make it have a through line. And so I couldn't add everything that I wanted to. So I was like, okay, I'll do one more issue. We'll add everything that we didn't get to do the first time, and that'll be done. And then the second issue was like very well received when I first released it. And people were telling me that they were reaching out to me personally, like through like text, not just through like comments or whatever, but like actually like texting me and DMing me saying, I read your magazine. I loved it. The writing was so good. You have such a talent. And I was like, that like really meant a lot to me. And like pretty soon after, I determined, I was like, I'm going to do one more, and it's going to be like a culmination. And everything that I didn't get to do in the first two are going to go into the last one. And that is kind of like what I did. And it was a very like cathartic type of thing, just because I had gone through a lot of like things emotionally and mentally like this whole year. And it felt like I felt like I did something, like, and it worked out, because like it's a trilogy. There's 3 of them. They're all very different, but they still like all come back together. So I'm just kind of like, it was just kind of like okay, I did something this year, and this is what I have to show. And so I'm just very excited to kind of just like showcase more of my writing and kind of just get to like share my passions and stuff like that. There's lots of writing about music and stuff like that, and that's kind of what I love to do. So I hope everybody will enjoy it when they read it.
I really did. I literally loved it all so much, and it just like, I don't know, a lot of what you said like really like resonates, and like it's so true about like just like being burnt out and like what happens when like something you love doing is just like not doing it for you and having to kind of like step away for a while. And I just feel like I think the one thing that like really shows with art hoe, like going from like the first and the second and like then like the third and last, is just that like they all really like, it just comes together and like really reflects your just overall life transition that happened in this like last year. Just being like, oh, here we go here, like final like senior thing for the first one, graduate, and then it's like, okay, put it down for a while, and then it's like, oh, I graduated and now I don't feel like I'm like doing anything because like we are in a pandemic, so I didn't get to like go do all these jobs that like I should be doing or whatever. So then it's like it was able to be picked back up, and you were able to like, I guess, just like finish it. And like I think the best thing is when like a project feels finished, because like I know I don't like leaving anything feeling unfinished. So like it's just like so cool to see it all come full circle just like from the outside. Because like I read the first one after the second one, came out, because like I like didn't know about it, except for like I saw like the photos Gemma took of you that you ended up using as the cover photo. Like besides that, I knew like nothing. And then like I saw the second one on Twitter, just because like so many mutuals, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I have to read it. And then I was like, I'm just obsessed. And I just like love reading like more, I guess it's just like really fun to read to me, like, because like music and stuff, like that's just what's like extra fun to read about. Just like it feels like I'm inside your brain. So
yeah, and that's kind of like what like the main purpose, because originally the like actual like my senior thesis, like the very first one, it was going to be collaborative. So I was going to include like all of my friends in my art cohort, and include like have my friends that aren't in art and just like my mutuals around me like write like pieces about what they care about and stuff like that, and just put it all together. But then it didn't feel like authentic to me, and I wanted to like kind of like tell my own story. And so that's why I kind of took on the task of doing everything myself. So literally like design, photography, model, write, edit, like that was like an exercise within itself, like learning how to do all of those types of things, and learning how to, I'm one of those people that's it's like, okay, I have an essay to write. First draft, don't know her, only know final draft. So I just write and I say, this looks good, and then I send it in. So it's just like, it really taught me to kind of just like slow down and not have to do everything at once. Like you can take the time, and like I know myself the best, and so I wouldn't have felt comfortable having someone else like edit it, or someone else like write something that is like so heavily connected to me. So I think it was also a good exercise in kind of branching out and seeing what I actually, my potential and like skills that you can advance on.
Yeah, no, kind of like what Sam was saying, just about it was just so easy to read and like connecting with. And I don't know, kind of like when people like will tell Sam or I, like, oh my gosh, it's like when we listen to your podcast, it's like I'm sitting in the room with you guys listening to a conversation, or like part of that conversation. When I was reading Art Ho, like all 3 issues really, I was like, oh my gosh, I really know this girl. Like we're just talking about music. Well, she's talking and I'm listening, but it was just so easy to connect with. And then also I loved the letter from the editor. When I first read the 3rd issue, I told Sam, I was like, yeah, I haven't finished it yet. I just have to read the letter from the editor, but it's long, so I don't know. I'll probably read it tomorrow. And then she's like, oh my gosh, that was my favorite part of it. I was like, oh, okay, now I have to read it. And so I like read it later that night. I was like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite part of it too.
That makes me so happy. It's like, that was such like a vulnerable type of thing. And like, it honestly only took me about maybe 35 minutes to write the whole thing, and there were like minimal edits. I literally just like went to town. I was just like going at it.
I just loved it. Like you didn't hold back. Like you were just like spitting the truth of like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember like things about it, but just like that you write like a lot. Like I remember like that was like a critique about like your first one or something. It was like people were always on you about like writing too much. And I mean, obviously it was like for like a art like photography thing, but like you are a communications gal, like you write and you write good, so like why, like that writing is just as much art as like the photos. So I feel like just like seeing you be able to like express that was like really cool. And yeah, definitely favorite part of the issue. So like can't like pick it up and put it down and not finish it.
Yeah, I'm a very like expressive writer. I would say like my one strength and flaw to my writing is that I write exactly how I talk, which is definitely not great for like academic setting, but like creative writing and editorial is like perfect. But like I tend to like ramble on and just kind of like go off into side tangents, and I like to keep that into my writing because I think it does read easier, and I think that is why it's so easy to read, and it feels very like comforting to read because it just feels like you're having a conversation with me. And that is kind of the whole intent, is that I don't want to like censor myself or any kind of stuff like that, because it's like I do curse. Like I literally, when I'm just talking to my friends, like it just comes out. Like that's how I kind of emphasize. And like if I could put like hand motions into my writing, because I'm like one of those people who talks with their hands, like I would if I could. That's why I had got so many exclamation points and like asterisks and stuff like that. It's just like that is how like I communicate. I just very expressive, and so I think that's it's just like to feel like a good like nice letter, like an actual letter, not like feels like an essay. So I'm glad that you guys felt comforted and by that.
So is there any potential for future publications, or is that kind of really TBD or just totally off the table for Art Ho?
I would probably say we'll mark it as a TBD, but as of right now, it's off the table just because I kind of am realizing that the first issue was definitely school related, and then the second two issues were kind of just like, it's been almost 6 months since I graduated. I still don't have a job that I like in my degree field. Let me fill my time with something. And now that I'm going to start grad school next month and I'm working full time, so I'll definitely not have as much time on my hands as I did. So I'm probably going to be putting Art Ho as a concept on like the back burner, but like the account will stay, like the things like the actual publications will always stay on my website, just because I'm so proud of them, and like I think they do really showcase like my skills like as an artist, as like a writer, as just kind of like a thinker, and like just kind of like as a person. Like I think they really represent me as a person. I always said that I would do Art Ho long term if it was picked up by like a publishing company by like some like fluke accident. So if anybody out there listening owns a publishing company, hit me up. You can have the rights to Art Ho. At least if I get just like a little percentage, you can have it. But I think for right now, I think it's just kind of like a TBD. I think it was like a good era, kind of like how I mentioned earlier. It's the longest kind of project I've ever worked on. I've never done a project for this long, even like things like painting or whatnot. So I'm really proud of myself in kind of like that type of area. So I think it has kind of done what it needs to do. For me, it's like an outlet for this year. So I don't know, never say never, but as of right now, it's probably backlog TBD.
Love that. It's definitely like hard to like go from, because I mean at this point, like you said, like it feels finished. So like they just like it goes together, and it's like a kind of like a period of your life that is gonna almost be like closed off now that you're like kind of moving into a different journey, I guess. So yeah, that is definitely makes sense. So with that, I mean, I guess you kind of did talk about this a little bit, but ultimately, do you feel like you fulfilled your vision for Art Ho, and is or was there more that you wanted to include that we haven't seen?
Content-wise, there was not any more that I had thought of. Like there was like little things, like there's like a crossword puzzle type of graphic in the third one. I had that on my list to do that for the very first issue. It just didn't like come into fruition. So like things like that, and then actually the movie section of the third issue was actually a different project that I had started at the beginning of quarantine, where I like really did not know how to fill my time, and I just really like was not in like a good mental place, and so I just wanted to like escape, and so I decided that I was just gonna watch movies. And so every time I watched a new movie, I wrote it down, and I wrote down what I thought about it. Like I categorized them all, like if I would never watch it again, if I would keep it on, if it was like if I flipped the channel and it was on TV, or if I would watch it over and over again. And I think by the end of that project, I did it from like March until like May or June. I think I had like maybe like 40 or 50 movies on the list of just like movies I had never seen before, plus movies I had watched over and over again. So like some things like crossed over, but like ultimately all of my ideas got fulfilled. And like the third issue, I never thought in the beginning that I would be writing about my experience doing jock. And that was kind of like a last minute thing. That was kind of the last thing I did. I kind of just threw together that like photographic just because I was so excited to like share everything. And I really wanted to cement and mark like this was my first time like getting to work on anything like this, like, and like actually like work, quote unquote, in the music industry in some kind of way. So I just really wanted to like cement it and like have that as like a memory forever. It's like more or less a scrapbook, but content wise, I think I got it all out, but I think definitely I did what I had to do with Art Hoe. I think the second and third issue definitely fill a gap that was left by the first issue. And so I think that's ultimately why I did the second and third. And I think if people read all three of them, even if they already know me really well, they'll learn something new about me just because as they went on, I just got more and more open. And that's kind of like how I am now. Like I'm definitely, sounds so cheesy, I'm definitely a different person, like from the beginning of the year in terms of like how open I am to people and how open I am about talking about like my emotions and like mental health and just kind of like my dreams and like stuff like that. So I think it definitely did what I had to do.
Love that.
No, I loved reading it. And like I kind of read them backwards, as I already mentioned. But like going from reading the third issue to reading the first issue immediately after, I was like, oh, these are like super different. Like you just seemed so much more comfortable with what you were doing and like more like it was going in the direction or it was already where you wanted it to be by the third issue. And because I know you talked about it, how people were kind of talking like, oh, it needs to have like more pictures and less words in the first one. So I was kind of like taking that into account too as I was reading it. But I was like, wow. And so just kind of like seeing the growth from that, like the first issue to the third one, I was like, wow. So like quick growth, good growth.
Loved it.
Yeah, like definitely like you're saying, like the first issue, granted it is like in the context of it being like a project, like a thesis that was like worked on for like 9 months, but there is like a through line of like you can pretty much, if you like step back and look at the visuals, it's me growing up over like my lifetime and like the parallels between past and present or past and future. And so like that's kind of why I have all like my baby pictures and then like interspliced with like pictures of like things that I still own. And like even at the end I include a whole page of This I Believe, which is like literally the speech that I gave like my senior night for like my sorority. And so it's like that was kind of like what I've learned, like who I was, who I am, and who I'm gonna be. And so like that was kind of like the context of that first issue, which is then so different than the second two, because the second two literally are just like a mishmash, which is just kind of how I feel all the time. So I feel like they're more representative of who I am.
No, that's awesome.
I loved it. I love seeing people's baby pictures.
Retweet. I love baby photos. But that's like so true. I feel like as like cliche as it is to sound that like you feel like a different person because of projects, it's like the more and more you work on something and like the longer you do it, you realize that like it does make you like, because when you get more comfortable in like just doing it, because like the pod, for example, like our first couple episodes were really, really awkward, and sometimes we do still have like super awkward like episodes, but then we randomly have like episodes where we're like, wait, we like have grown so much in just like how comfortable we are in general, like recording ourselves talking like with each other, growing so much in like that way, but also how that translates into just like talking to people. Because I mean, I always said like, oh, I'm an open book, like my friends know everything about me and like all this stuff, and then like I would go on and realize, wait, like as much as I tell all these stories and think I'm an open book, there's a lot that like I leave behind and that I leave out, and like the podcast has like given us like a little outlet to kind of start bringing those things into our regular conversations, which is really cool.
No, yeah, definitely those like projects definitely make you like step out of your box. And like my whole big thing was that I always took portraits, but I was always taking portraits of other people, and so it was like a big thing for me to kind of like turn the camera on myself, and like it's very like vulnerable to like show yourself in that kind of light. And it was like definitely a concept I had to kind of drill into like the heads of like my peers when I was doing my actual, when I was still in school. Because I think they got a little sick and tired of looking at these big, huge, blown up pictures of me whenever I would print them out and like bring them for critique. Because it's literally like me just standing there and they're like critiquing a picture that I took of myself. So it's like, it's a very vulnerable thing to kind of like, no pun intended, but turn the camera on yourself and kind of just like express your actual self. And like, it's very clear, like the first issue, all of the pictures I have like full face makeup on, like head to toe, to whereas like the final issue I have not a lick of makeup on, and that was like very important for me. That was like definitely also a big growing moment for me. So yeah, definitely would agree on that point, Sam. Definitely stepping out of your comfort zone.
Our next question for you is, you know, other than going to grad school, going after like masters and stuff, like what can we expect to see from Ryann Funk in the future?
If I knew the answer to that question, I would be so happy. I really don't know. I used to be like a big planner. Like I'm a very much like, I don't like surprises. I like to know like what's going on. I like to know what's going to happen tomorrow. I like to know what's happening 6 months from now. Mm-hmm. And like that kind of all went out the window for me this year, obviously. And I think I learned from that a lot. And I've become a not completely go with the flow type of person, but like we're getting there. The type A personality is slowly but surely not as intense, but I don't really know. I'm really hoping that my next degree will like show me, it's definitely going to show me more skills, because I'm doing, for anybody out there that doesn't know, I'm pursuing a Master of Science in Communication with a focus in integrated communication and advertising, which is something I never thought I would do. But it's like things like learning about branding and learning about like communication ethics and strategic communication, which is like stuff I like super love and like geek out about. And that's for a different time and place. But I think it'll definitely help me like learn my potential more, because this year has shown me how much I can actually do. And so I think being able to like do that and put myself through grad school, I think that will definitely show me even more skills and potential. Like at this point, I honestly have no idea. I'm literally just like any other like 22-year-old. I just seem like I have it together and know what I'm doing, but I don't. I could not tell you how many companies I have sent in applications to, never heard back from. I literally, great story, I have gotten rejected from NPR 12 times this year. Literally since the month of July, I think, I've gotten rejected 12 separate times. So it's never over. I'll just say that. It is never over. And if you just like to keep going, it's like you never know. I think I know what I want, but I actually don't know what I want. So it's just like, just kind of, I know that things will happen the way they're supposed to happen.
Sorry, I feel the same way. I all of a sudden was very no thoughts, head empty, and it like really hit. Yeah, it's so funny. I've been thinking about like grad school like more often than not recently, which is so weird, because like I always like whenever people ask me, I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna go to grad school. But then like I was like, oh, like, you know, like I mean, if like the opportunity like comes and it's like my senior year, and like, because I'm like, I could stay like another year and do it, but like for my major it's kind of weird. There's like not a lot of grad school opportunities, but like some of them could be cool. I'm like, yeah, maybe some like textile research could happen.
My friend Katie, who me and her interned at Zumi's headquarters in Linwood a couple summers ago together, she worked in private label, and she was also a fashion student at Wazoo. And she now is a grad student at the University of Delaware, and she's doing textile research. And she's doing textile research to one day launch her own lingerie brand. So it is like definitely possible. I would say never say never. Like a ton of my friends after I started looking into grad school, they also were like, maybe I should do it. And it's definitely like right now, if there's anybody out there listening, it is a prime time to do it. So many more schools and programs are so much more accessible now because a lot of them are online and they're a lot more forgiving. And it is there's so many schools and programs out there that you can do full time. You can get a full master's degree online. That is what I'm doing. And I can still work full time and do school. It is like the best of both worlds. I definitely would recommend it. I never thought I would be going to a school like Purdue. I thought I was just going to go. I thought I knew what I wanted to do. And then I looked into other schools and there was just like better things that would fit what I wanted to do right now in my life. So if you're thinking about it, never say never. That is my advice from an old 22-year-old.
Yeah, well, I was like thinking about how like, because like for you and like other people who graduated class of 2020, and then also I think it's, you know, it's kind of streamlining a bit into class of 2021 and then like maybe even a little bit class of 2022 with the whole like, because of like it's going to take a while to recover from the offset that the pandemic had in like corporate world and like big girl jobs, and it's going to be a whole lot of like, oh, when I graduate my plan is going to be different now, because when I graduate there's not going to be that spot for me in the industry that I always planned on there being. It's not like things changed and these opportunities aren't there anymore. So what can I do in the meantime? Oh, I can like make myself an even better qualified person for the job I want by like continuing on. So I think it's just like a lot of people are starting to like kind of reconsider like their after graduation plans.
My kind of like ultimate push to do the final leap into another degree was that it literally, there's no way that it can hurt me in the future. It's only going to better me. Like I will like, there's nothing negative from going and pursuing another degree. Like it's literally only going to help me even further in the future. So yeah, definitely would agree.
Switching topics again, just like a very fun fluffy question to move away from all of our deep convos, I guess, would just be like, do you think you have like anyone or anything that like influences your style the most when it comes to creating? Just like, I guess in general, the way you edit photos, the way you write, if there's people, things, anything.
Oh my god, yeah, there's like, I could probably do a whole podcast episode on just my influences, but I will do like a condensed version of it because I tend to ramble on when I talk about them. So influences, so my art history section of my influences are, I'm very much, my first and foremost influence is pop art. So like 60s, 70s, 80s, like literally the entire pop art movement, the original one, is kind of my main inspiration. That's kind of just what I love. So Andy Warhol, I literally have an Andy Warhol poster in my room. Keith Haring, I have a Keith Haring tattoo on my back of like one of his little dancing figures. So like he's a big inspiration for me. And then for anybody looking for new photo inspiration, Ed Ruscha is kind of the father of street photography and like pop art visuals. So he's definitely one of my favorites. And then Annie Leibovitz, who is a photographer, she is the reason that I started photography. And she is the reason why I wanted to get into music photography, because she is probably best known. I think her best work is when she was working for Rolling Stone magazine and she was on tour photographing the Rolling Stones. If you just look up those images, there's an image of Mick Jagger in the elevator in a towel and a robe, and it's probably one of my favorite photos of all time. And then, I don't know, my photo and art like program was very like experimental, so we saw a lot of performance art. And my last piece of art history is it's a performance called Semiotics of the Kitchen, and it's by Martha Rossler, and it is literally her, I want to say it's from like maybe the 70s. It's black and white, it's like a parody film, and she literally just goes like through the alphabet and does these like really intense like gestures and like parodies of like housewives through each of the letters of the alphabet. It's like great. It is like peak feminist like parody arts. Super weird, super out there, but it is so funny. And then what else am I inspired by? I was a Tumblr kid, if it is not already apparent. And so like 2011 to 2015 Tumblr. So very like, I describe it as like sleepy glam, or like very like dream like indie. Like I do a lot of blacks mixed with like pastels, so a lot of like my photos like have that like film like effect to them, or very like intense like colorings. I don't super like high contrast. I would rather have something very like soft and like nice to look at. And so I think that's where that comes from. Lots of pink. Pink is my favorite color. And so like obnoxious bubblegum pink is my absolute favorite color in the world. So I try and include it whenever I can. And then I would say probably just like movies, just in general, like Wes Anderson movies. Of course, he's a lot of color. I did probably 2 or 3 years worth in school of just research on color. And so I know a lot about that. And then some of my other movies that are really inspirational to me are Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron. The color grading of that film is just like impeccable. I just love watching it just because it's so beautiful. It's just got that like grungy and like dark and just kind of like grittiness to it. And it's just like, it's a beautiful film, as well as Roma. I think that Roma is probably the most beautiful film I've ever seen. And yeah, I think those are like pretty much it. Plus like just music videos, going to live shows. I watch MTV like literally every night. So I'm like always constantly surrounded by like music videos and getting inspired. So yeah, that is kind of like a condensed version of what inspires me.
No, I absolutely love it.
I have a list now. Like, I am going to listen to this like later because I didn't actually write it down, but now I'm gonna have a list of a bunch of things to go watch. Especially that like parody, like that feminist, like, well, not a feminist parody, but like, you know what I mean. Yeah,
it's like I watched some crazy stuff. Like I did an entire quarter where my professor only allowed us to research the works of this artist. His name is Marcel Duchamp. And he just like, if I never have to hear the words Marcel Duchamp ever again, I will be happy. But that is like a piece of like art history that lots of people need to know. But like art history is like crazy because it just like repeats itself over and over again. So when you find one artist you like, you stumble into lots of other like different types of arts. That's what's great about just kind of like searching and scouring the internet for different things.
Yeah, I love that. Now I know what I'm going to do over winter break because I've been thinking about it and I'm like, what am I going to do like when I like really don't have anything to do anymore, like at the end of this week, and I like when I don't have to respond to emails. Like, wow, that's going to be great. But now I have something to do.
Moving on to the last part of our little guest interview. We're moving into our iconic this or that. I honestly love these, but I suck at coming up with this or that. It's like I was trying to like come up with some, and then I could not think of more than like 4. And I was like, Sam, I don't know how you do this every single time, because literally Sam comes up with pretty much all of them every time. Like, wow, I'm so sorry that I make you do this every time by yourself.
Let's just get into a little rapid fire moment of this or that. So the first one, big or small venue?
Okay, what is considered a big venue in this situation?
See, I
like
would
the
consider
WAMU
like the
or
WAMU
Key Arena.
a small venue.
Yeah.
Okay, I also consider WAMU a small venue.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's small. I would say small.
I'll probably say I'll say small venue then. I'll say small venue. But like then there's like a small venue like Spectrum where you have like WAMU, which is
versus like the crocodile.
Exactly. Or like, I don't know if you guys have ever been to El Corazon.
Oh, I've
that
heard.
place is scary. You can fit maybe max like 150 people in it, but it's where like the hardcore like punk like screamo shows are, and it's like almost like frat house like, where like the air is like sweaty and it's like wet, and like people like stage dive, but then you could pretty much like touch the people that are stage diving. Like one time when I was at El Cor, I got hit in the head with a Doc Martin of somebody who was stage diving. It was fun though, but I think maybe small venues, just because they're more like fun, even if it's like somewhere like the WAMU where you get like squished in the pit.
Next one, behind the scenes or front and center?
That's so hard because like as of lately I've been very like behind the scenes just because we've been doing lots of like production things, but it's like I grew up as like a dancer and like front of stage, like I like through and through I am like a performer, and I think that's why that like shows through my like art, that I am like a performer and I love doing that kind of stuff. So like if the opportunity arises and they need someone to be front and center, I will definitely take the opportunity. I will take the leading role. But also like if somebody needs me to do behind the scenes stuff, and kind of like I also really get a thrill out of like helping make the machine run and like making sure everything gets done and like gets to that end product. So like it's such a wishy-washy answer because I'll take both, but
yeah, no, 100%.
I'll go for the sake of this or that. I'll go with behind the scenes just because it is more satisfying, like 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, I can agree. Not to stop the rapid fire, but I was just gonna say, like, it just like makes sense that you were like so like kind of back and forth between like which one, because like if you think about it, like Art Ho, like it was the best of both worlds. You got to be like behind the scenes and front and center, so it was kind of like when you can do both, why not do both? So yeah. So the next one is The Strokes or the 1975. Very interesting comparison.
Why did I know this was coming? It's so hard because they're so different. In like a very small subsection of the world population, the 1975 is the greatest thing to ever walk the earth. But then in like the rest of the population, it is like a known fact that the Strokes are like the greatest rock band of the 2000s and even like right now. So I don't know. It's also hard because bands that were at like the beginning of the 2000s, like the Strokes, influenced so much of the sound that is like very popular, like with like people our age. So like because literally Alex Turner of the Arctic Monkeys, his favorite band in the world is the Strokes. So it's like without the Strokes, we wouldn't have a band like Arctic Monkeys, which then also came at the same time as the 1975, and we all know they're in the same little realm. I don't know. It's so hard because like the Strokes, I get so like giddy because they're just like, I'm so excited that they're like still around and like they have their same like sound that they did literally 20 years ago, and they're just so iconic, like rock and indie rock music that like everybody now loves would not sound the way that it sounds without the Strokes. But also the 1975 have had like a huge influence on a lot of artists now, and the 1975 is a band that I can literally put on their entire discography and not skip unless it's like a small subsection of songs that I just cannot do. But it always just like makes me like so giddy. Like I cried the first time I heard Robbers live, so it's like it was just like I just get so excited. Like I watch Live from the O2 like at least like 5 times a month. Like it's not okay. So I think the 1975 is my roundabout answer. It's so lame. It's so like 2014 like Tumblr kid of me saying my favorite band's the 1975, but it truly is.
No, I love it. The next one is podcasts or TED Talks.
Definitely podcasts. I'm definitely a podcast kind of gal. I really love like pop culture podcasts or like music podcasts. Like, Rolling Stone magazine has one. I think it's called like Rolling Stone Now or something like that. But like, I was just listening to it last night, and it's like a group of like 4 of their editors that write a majority of their pieces, and they were literally just like going through their like top 25 songs of 2020 list, and they're talking about like why they put them on there and like how influential they were. And I just like love learning about like music and like stuff like that. But then I also love listening to, like, I don't know if any of you have watched like the Beats One radio interviews, or like the Zach interviews of like artists. I love those too. So I kind of lump those in with podcasts because they're kind of like a podcast. But I just love listening to like people talk about like their projects or like their life stories, stuff like that. So definitely that probably falls more into podcast realm.
I agree. I'm very much a podcast girl. I love a good TED Talk, but podcasts always take it. So the next one is if you prefer to listen to a playlist on shuffle or in order.
If it's a playlist that I made, there's no sense to it, so definitely shuffle. But if it's like one of those ones where somebody like specifically made it in like a certain order to be listened to, I'll listen to it like that. Or like albums, if I listen to an album for the first time, it has to be played all the way through, not on shuffle. That's just chaotic energy. That's too much chaotic energy. Like, I just cannot imagine. Like, a perfect example is like Chromatica. It's literally made to be listened to all the way through with the interludes because they all go into each other. Like, you can't, it's just not the same listening to it on shuffle. But I would listen to playlists on shuffle because I get bored.
Okay, next one. Instagram or Twitter?
Okay, it used to be, my go-to answer used to be Instagram, but Instagram's algorithm is really bugging me lately. Like, I just know if we had released jock content 6 months ago, it would be popping off. I have like such low engagement on like all of my stuff. It is so disheartening. And so I've like slowly moved back to Twitter. Like, I've always been pretty active on Twitter. It cracks me up every single time I go on Twitter. I am laughing so hard, and there are just some of the funniest things. And it's so bad. Like, the fact that like Twitter is like where I get all of my news first. That's another topic for another time. But like literally just like I'll just get the most random things. Like, I can always find something on Twitter. Where like I get kind of bored on Instagram sometimes. Like, I rarely use the explore page. Like, I just like sometimes I just don't want to scroll, but I could scroll on Twitter for hours and hours and hours. And you could just act a fool on Twitter and nobody cares. People think it's funny, which I agree, but it's like I would probably go with Twitter just because you can also like do a lot more on Twitter now than you can. But I do love IG story over whatever Twitter, whatever that is. Yeah. But Twitter ultimately.
Okay, and last, this or that, is morning or night.
Oh, I am 100% a night person. I literally struggle. I work from home. I struggle to get out of bed in the morning. I literally wake up, or I go to bed probably 2 or 3 in the morning. Like, I could stay up all night if I had to, but make me wake up before like 10 o'clock? Absolutely not. Cannot do it. Does not matter how my body just like is not. I'm just not a morning person. I want to be a morning person so bad. I want to be that person. I want to like wake up, feel refreshed, get my cup of coffee, like be relaxed, like go on a jog. I don't know. I just am not that kind of girl. I am would you look at the time? It's 3:30 in the morning. I guess I should think about falling asleep now. I'm that type of girl. And then I will just complain the whole day about how tired I am. And then I hit like, it's probably like the magic hour is like 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I'm not tired anymore. Let's party.
Reminds me of Issa.
Never did those 8:30 classes though. Could not do it.
I only had one 8 a.m. and that was freshman year. Sucked. And it was only on Mondays, so at least I didn't have it every day, but it's...
What do you say we get into my favorite part of Likewise? Song of the Week.
Yes, ma'am. I love Song of the Week. My fave.
We just love talking about music.
So Issa, do you want to start?
Sure. My Song of the Week is Blind by Role Model, and honestly, this is so funny because I was just like, I found it on Saturday night when I was messing around on Snapchat, and then I sent it to one of my friends, and not only did I like this song, because I listened to it after I like listened to like the little intro, you know, like on the music thing on Snapchat or whatever, and she liked it too, and so, you know, it's a win-win.
Is Role Model the one that is quote unquote dating Emma Chamberlain?
Yes. I like wrote a little note on I like replied to Issa's like comment when she like wrote that down, because I was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny that that's her song of the week, because I was just talking about that a couple months ago to Gemma and I was like, oh my gosh, imagine being Emma Chamberlain and having someone like Role Model write this wholesome song about you. How cute. And then like she literally just like looked at me and I was just like, that is why we're all here right now. We are literally like we are doing the Jock videos, like Jock, like this is about you. Like I was like, hold on, I take that back. I literally just explained your life. Great, love that for you. I still want that.
Oh my gosh, I was so confused because when I read that I was like, is that her song of the week? I don't know what's going on.
No. This was just about your song of the week. But yeah, I believe the theories. Okay. I think they're dating.
So my song of the week is Can I Go On by Slater Kinney, which is like one of the songs I had posted on my IG story earlier. I don't know, I just like really love Slater Kinney, and a quick rundown about them if you don't know who they are a original like riot girl punk band from Olympia, and they are probably one of the biggest like riot girl punk girl bands in like the whole genre. And one of their members, Carrie Brownstein, is probably most famously known for starring in Portlandia. That is like her show, and they are just like so badass. Like I was rewatching some of their like live stuff earlier today, and I don't know, I just like really love them, and I think more people need to know about them. I think they need more recognition when like we're talking about like artists from like, especially bands from like the Pacific Northwest, because they're all like male fronted. But if you want to get into like riot girl punk like indie rock, definitely would check out Slater Kinney. Great band.
We'll be listening after this. Like literally as soon as we stop, I will listen to it because
they're
I'm
so
intrigued.
Can I Go On and Modern Girl, my two favorite songs. So definitely would love. I love them. I could literally talk about them for hours.
I love that. And
my song of the week is Dion by The Japanese House featuring Justin Vernon. Just spectacular. That is all I have to say about it. It's been stuck in my head all day. I like have listened to it probably like 10 times today, and I like posted on Instagram today, and I was like gonna like be like cheesy and use a song lyric as my caption and like take it from that song, and then I was like no, this is stupid, and then I just like put like some random emojis instead, which is my favorite thing to do. I'll like look at songs for like hours and then be like a plant emoji is fine. But yeah, that's my song of the week because just I love The Japanese House and the new EP's Chef's Kiss.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny because when the 1975 came to Seattle in 2016, The Japanese House opened for them, and I was like, who the heck are these people? And like the people like right behind me and my friend were like, teeth. It's like, these people are crazy. It was not my cup of tea, but Sam, since you like them so much, I'll have to give them another try. Yeah, but anyways, Ryan, we just want to thank you so much for being on the pod this week and talking all things art hoe and jock and literally everything. It was so fun talking to you, getting to know you and your work. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's very much an honor. You're my first podcast appearance. I feel like I've made it. I can check it off my bucket list. So thank you. And I'm really glad I got to talk about just like the work I've been doing, and I think it's really awesome. And yeah, everybody should go check out Art Hoe because it's out.
Yes. By the time you're listening to this, Art Hoe will be out, and seriously, go read it. It's so good. There's a likewise feature in there. When I saw that, I was like, Sam, no way.
Icon status. Likewise pod.
I know, literally. Sam, we're in a magazine. Wow.
We're in a magazine. We're in a music video. What more can you ask for?
Oh my gosh, wait, that's so true.
This like Art Hoe Likewise Pod crossover, it was meant to happen. You can see both Likewise Pod and Art Hoe features in the Jock music video if you look hard enough. It was meant to be.
Yes, I am such a fan. I love this so much. I love crossovers. Oh my gosh, it's like the Disney crossover episodes. Like That's the Sweet Life of Hannah Montana.
See, now we've come full circle. We talked about Hannah Montana in the beginning, and now we've talked about Hannah Montana again. So we've come full circle.
Perfect
I love
ending.
Beautiful. Yeah, so make sure to go check out Art Hoe now. It's so great. And also, just casually rate and review us on Apple Podcasts so that more people can find us. And whatever streaming platform you use, make sure to follow us so you are listening as soon as an episode comes out. And Sam and Ryan, I love this conversation. It was a long one, but it was so good and literally talked about like all my favorite things. So always a pleasure. And I hope you guys both just have a really great rest of your day.
Well, I could not agree more, and likewise to you all.
Bye.